Peace be upon you, and may the mercy of Allah be granted to you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you health, protection, and blessings. Today we present to you an extraordinary and touching story. From an ancient mosque in Gaza, a creature with golden wings emerges, and Israel dares not approach. Watch until the end and feel the power of faith through this wondrous story. From an ancient mosque in Gaza, a creature with golden wings emerges, and Israel dares not approach. In a corner of the war-torn city of Gaza stands an old mosque called Al-Marwa. This mosque is small, with some walls cracked by the shock waves of Israeli missiles. Yet it remains standing, as if refusing to collapse despite the world around it being torn apart. The locals call it the living mosque, because from the beginning, strange things have always happened here that cannot be explained by human reason. The sound of the call to prayer remains distinctly audible even when there is no electricity or functioning speakers. A thick layer of dust never accumulates in the mosque, even though it goes unclean for weeks. The one who usually tends to the mosque is a 17-year-old youth named Yahya. He lost his father and two younger brothers in an airstrike. Only he and his mother survived. Yahya made the mosque a place of solace, where he complained to Allah day and night. He read the Quran every day, even when the sound of explosions could be heard in the distance. One night, when the wind blew stronger than usual, Yahya felt something unusual in the mosque. The dim light of a small lamp hanging in the corner began to flicker. There was no breeze, but the air felt heavy, as if something immense was present. Yahya stood and walked to the main hall of the mosque. He saw the mihrab facing the Qibla, reflecting a strange light. Then a golden light burst from the mosque's floor and slowly formed a tall, grand figure. Its body was radiant, pure, and full of authority. The most striking feature was two golden wings spread across its back. Yahya stood frozen, eyes wide, unable to utter a word. He wanted to run, but his body felt as if it were bound. Yet strangely, he felt no fear. On the contrary, an extraordinary calm spread through his chest. The creature looked at Yahya gently. Its voice echoed through the mosque's walls. "Do not fear, son, guardian of Allah's house," it said. Yahya trembled. Who are you?" he asked. "I am a guardian. I was sent when injustice on earth became too great." The appearance of the golden-winged creature caused the entire mosque to tremble softly. A few local residents saw a bright light emanating from the mosque's windows. They ran closer, but dared not enter. Soon word spread that the ancient mosque in Gaza was now guarded by a golden-winged creature. By morning, strange things began to happen. Israeli military planes flying over the mosque suddenly lost their signals. Reconnaissance drones that were launched crashed as soon as they touched the sky above the mosque. Israeli soldiers at a nearby observation post reported seeing a glowing figure with wings resembling the sun circling above the mosque. At first, this was dismissed as a hallucination, but when three soldiers nearby simultaneously lost consciousness and could not recover, the entire army fell into panic. Israel officially declared the area around the Al-Marwa Mosque a forbidden zone that no one could approach. But for the people of Gaza, this was not terror. It was a sign that Allah was watching over them. A few days later, Yahya returned to the mosque with a simple meal as usual. He cleaned the mosque and quietly recited the Quran. When he finished, the golden-winged creature appeared again. "The time is near. A night will come when the sky above Gaza will split. Prepare yourself, for a miracle will occur that will shake the world." Hearing these words, Yahya could only weep. And indeed, on the fourth night after the creature's appearance, the sky above Gaza turned a golden-red hue. Residents who saw it from afar thought there was a massive fire. But what they saw was not an ordinary fire. It was a light that fell from the sky like rain, covering only the area of the ancient mosque. Israeli soldiers observing through satellite cameras witnessed something incredible. Their cameras captured a figure with golden wings flying northward and raising both hands to the sky. Then all military signals and communications in that area were disrupted for 7 minutes. In the military world, this is called an electronic catastrophe, but no expert could explain why it happened only in the mosque's vicinity. By morning, an astonishing phenomenon was discovered. All heavy weaponry and armored vehicles parked near the mosque had rusted overnight. Batteries, ammunition, and electronic control systems were damaged as if struck by lightning. International media began discussing the phenomenon, but the Israeli government imposed strict censorship, fearing that this news would strengthen the Palestinians' belief that they were protected by heavenly forces. The news had already spread. Many Muslims from various countries wept upon seeing footage of Gaza's residents witnessing the golden light descending from the sky. Some even claimed to have seen a winged figure from a distance. Though not everyone could explain it, Yahya remained in Gaza. He did not seek fame. He only wanted the mosque to remain standing and for the Quran to continue being recited. But in his heart, he knew this creature was not just a guardian, but a warning that if injustice continued, there would be consequences. To this day, no Israeli soldier has dared approach the Al-Marwa Mosque. The mosque is no longer known as the Old Mosque, but as the Mosque of the Golden Wings, where a heavenly guardian descended, making Allah's enemies tremble without firing a single bullet. Yahya remains there, reciting the Quran, cleaning the mosque, a living witness to the day when the sky above Gaza was protected by creatures with golden wings. That night, the wind in Gaza brought a different atmosphere. 2 weeks had passed since the appearance of the golden-winged creature at the Al-Marwa Mosque. After this incident, all Israeli troops were withdrawn from a 2-kilometer radius around the ancient mosque. No one dared approach. Even drones could not penetrate the mosque's radius, falling suddenly as if pulled by an invisible hand. Yahya remained the sole guardian. There were no official guards or security, only him and the sound of his recitation filling the night. But that night was different. Yahya was prostrating in prayer, and when he raised his head, the mosque trembled slightly. A golden yellow light seeped through the cracks in the floor, but this time it was not one beam, but 3 emerging from the mosque. They merged, forming 3 distinct figures. All had wings, but the central figure was far larger and brighter than the others. The figure looked at Yahya and, in a deep yet gentle voice, said, "Your time is near, guardian of the light." Yahya did not understand what it meant, but in his soul he felt calm, though his body began to tremble. "I'm just an ordinary teenager," Yahya said. "You are no longer ordinary. The light we entrusted to you has settled in your soul, and now the time has come for that light to split the sky." Suddenly, the mosque shook more intensely. Hundreds of residents from nearby villages ran out of their homes, seeing a golden light rising from the dome of the ancient mosque and touching the sky. Unlike previous nights, that night the sky above Gaza changed color, first to a reddish purple and then to a bright yellow. From the Israeli military headquarters, all radars detected a powerful energy anomaly. Elite troops were sent, but as soon as they reached the boundary of the mosque's zone, all communication devices were completely damaged, and the engines of a tank column failed simultaneously. Some soldiers screamed in fear, seeing a large winged shadow above them, though there was no sound of engines or wind. Meanwhile, inside the mosque, Yahya stood surrounded by a faint light. He did not know that his face and body were beginning to change. Old wounds on his body vanished, and his skin glowed softly. One of the winged creatures approached him and placed a small black stone in Yahya's palm. "Place this in the highest place of the mosque, and do not stop reciting this verse," the creature said, reciting Surah Al-Fath, verses 14. Yahya repeated after it. When the stone was placed at the top of the mosque's minaret, a flash of light tore through the sky. The light formed a giant, luminous sword pointing to the heavens, vibrating slowly before exploding into millions of golden particles that enveloped the entire city of Gaza. Strangely, there was no destruction. Destroyed houses began to rebuild gradually, as if time had reversed to heal the ruins. Several residents ran out of their homes in tears, seeing that the walls of their homes, once destroyed, now stood intact. Cameras from Arab, Turkish, and other Islamic media, secretly filming from the border, also captured this moment. A clip of Yahya standing against a backdrop of giant light went viral instantly. Muslims worldwide fell to their knees in gratitude upon seeing it. Israel panicked. They thought Yahya was a spiritual weapon capable of shaking their troops from a distance. They sent a group of assassins to secretly infiltrate Gaza, but before they could enter the city, the road they traveled was suddenly covered in thick golden fog. One soldier fainted upon seeing the figure of a golden-winged creature silently watching them in the fog. The next day, all the soldiers were found asleep on the roadside, remembering no events. In the mosque, Yahya fell asleep at his place of worship, but his face still glowed with peace. On the third night, Yahya's dreams were filled with voices shouting a single name, Al-Mahdi. Yahya woke up startled. Soon after, an elderly scholar, dressed in robes, arrived from Hebron, followed by hundreds of followers. The elder simply said, "O young guardian of the light, Muslim nations have seen this sign. You have become the light that splits the sky, and now the time has come for you to lead the people." Yahya quickly shook his head. "I am no one. I am not a leader." But the man only smiled. "It is not you who chooses, but Allah." That night the mosque was illuminated again, not only by the winged creatures, but by thousands of people who came with prayers from Sudan, Turkey, Indonesia, Pakistan, and other countries. They came not as fighters but as witnesses, witnesses to the awakening of Gaza, not with rockets or weapons, but with the light of prayers and Quranic recitations. Meanwhile, Israel erected a giant electric fence around the mosque, but no one dared stand guard at it. Every night their cameras broke, and every morning they found the fence covered with small golden birds, as if mocking their fears. Yahya, the hero, continued sweeping the mosque with a tattered cloth and quietly reciting prayers. But everyone knows that the ancient mosque is no longer just a building. It is the center of the light of the end times. That morning, Gaza was not the same as usual. The normally gray sky was now filled with soft golden clouds. Thousands of people from around the world arrived from Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Indonesia, and even some from Europe who, in secret, wished to witness the extraordinary phenomenon that had gone viral in recent weeks. The Al Marwa Mosque, once dilapidated and neglected, transformed into a place that radiates holy light every night. No one dares to destroy it. Even Israel suddenly fell silent. They only watched from afar, frightened after the incident of their elite troops disappearing in a mysterious golden fog. Yahya, the teenager who once only tended a small mosque, is now known worldwide. But there is not a trace of arrogance on his face. He still sweeps the mosque's floor every morning, feeds the birds, and leads prayers without raising his voice, only with gentleness. But that day, a sign appeared from the sky again. Right after the Duhr prayer, the sky trembled slightly. People looked up. The clouds parted, forming a clearing, and a direct beam of light fell upon the mosque's tower. Everyone fell silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. From the sky descended a golden-winged creature again, but this time only one. Its body was much larger than before, and its voice was like the echo of Quranic verses resonating in people's hearts. It stood on the mosque's dome without touching it and spoke in a language that somehow everyone understood. "O people, this is the end of your wavering delusions. The truth has been revealed. Those who choose the light will be protected. Those who choose darkness will be isolated." People wept. No one dared to pick up their phones. Everyone was stunned. Then the creature beckoned Yahya and brought him closer. "Yahya ibn Nuh, your time has come. Yahya ibn Nuh, your time has come." Yahya stepped into the center of the mosque's courtyard. His face was calm. He smiled at his mother, who was crying in the back row. He did not speak, but everyone knew it was a farewell. The creature spread its wings. Then the light from Yahya's body rose and merged with the creature's. On the mosque's floor, only his white clothing remained. His body had vanished, ascending in the light with a smile. Then there was an explosion of light, but not an explosion of destruction, an explosion of peace. All of Gaza was enveloped in white light. Walls that were once destroyed now stood again. Water flowed from the earth. Flowers grew in the ruins. Even the area once surrounded by Israeli tanks turned into a garden of peace. Israeli soldiers watching from afar could not believe it. Some immediately threw down their weapons. Some wept loudly, bowing to the ground. Others fled but could not leave the land of Palestine because the golden fog formed an invisible wall around Gaza. Soon after, scholars from around the world gathered at the Al Marwa Mosque. They gave thanks and declared this place the land of counsel, the third holiest site after Mecca and Medina. The people of Gaza now live in peace, and those who were once oppressed have become teachers of peace for the world. But even though everything has changed, one thing remains a mystery. Every night, the light of golden wings can still be seen soaring through the clouds, as if guarding Gaza from above. On the walls of the ancient mosque are carved inscriptions that will never fade. Whoever protects the house of Allah will be protected by Allah with all his might. Subhanallah, truly there is no power or might except in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This story reminds us that God's help can come in unexpected ways and that anyone who protects God's house will be protected by him with the best care possible. Thank you for reading this story to the end. May this story strengthen our faith, fortify our hearts, and serve as a reminder that truth always prevails. Peace be upon you, and may Allah be with us.